Think about it. 90% of gas in the U.S. already has between 10 to 15% ethanol in it, and there are hundreds of gas stations across the country right now that offer E85, which is 85% grain alcohol. So why is it that we keep thinking that our cars need gas? I started doing more research to determine if there was any reason why other types of alcohol wouldn't work in an automobile, and there wasn't. As a chemist, I can tell you that the chemical makeup of high concentration alcohol and gasoline are extremely similar. They both create energy, and there's no magical component in gasoline that cars need. In fact, one of the only differences is that alcohol energy is basically net zero when it comes to environmental damage, whereas gasoline production fills the air with pollutants and chemicals. Next, I began looking around to see if anyone else was fueling their car with alcohol. There were a few people on the internet who said they were, and they were doing it by purchasing a home distillery setup from a company out of Massachusetts. It turned out that for about $3,000, that company would come to your house and build a distillery for you. That's really cool, but I didn't have that kind of money to spend. In addition, the distilleries that they were building were huge structures, and I simply didn't have that space in my backyard for something like that. And so I set to work, drawing on my knowledge of chemistry to figure out how I could make extremely high-grade alcohol fuel in my backyard and with very little space. It felt like a daunting task at first, but then I thought about all of the bathtub bootleggers who made massive amounts of alcohol in a small tub during Prohibition. If they can make incredibly strong stuff like Moonshine in a 30-gallon bathtub, couldn't I make 30 gallons of fuel-grade alcohol in a small little space as well? It took dozens of attempts, but eventually I designed the perfect mini distillery. Better still, it was made of nothing but a few small parts and pieces, most of which I'd salvaged from a local junkyard. Total, my final structure cost about $150 to build. The next step was tackling how to actually make the alcohol without spending a fortune. Corn and wheat are great for this task, but they require a massive agricultural operation that I and 95% of Americans simply can't pull off. Plus, growing and maintaining crops is extremely time-consuming and expensive. So yet again, I draw on my chemistry experience to think about what else could be turned into alcohol. And the more I thought about this, the more I realized that virtually any organic matter was a prime candidate. Milk, beans, leftover salad, pretty much anything you can think of, even stuff that's sitting in your trash can right now, can be easily transformed into high-strength alcohol. Remember, there's not magic formula in the fuel your car engine needs. It just has to have energy, and that's what alcohol is. I tried dozens of different materials and kept the list. Incredibly, about 95% of the plants, veggies, and even dairy products I used were perfect. In December of 2012, I filled my gas tank with homemade alcohol for the first time. It's been over 14 months now, and I've been to the gas station exactly twice. I can drive all my cars wherever I want, and my average cost to make 30 gallons of gas is around $20 or 66 cents per gallon. It felt so good to know that no matter what happened with gas prices, even if they rose to rocket-high levels, I'd never be paying more than $1 per gallon again. That I'd never have to feel like I was lining the overstuffed pockets of big oil just so I can get to work or take my kids to school. And I realized that I needed to share my process and my home distillery blueprint with as many hardworking Americans as I possibly could. I believe that it's your God-given right to be free, not to be controlled by the faceless corporations who think they own you, which is why today I want to give you the opportunity to take back that freedom. Introducing the Free Power Secrets Program. The Free Power Secrets Program is a complete step-by-step guide showing you everything you need to know in order to start powering your car, tractor, truck, or anything else that has a motor on homemade alcohol fuel by the end of the week. The construction is shockingly simple. You can build this even if you have trouble hammering a nail, or you're elderly and have trouble bending or kneeling for long periods of time. And there's no knowledge of chemistry or how cars work required. Because you'll be producing alcohol that runs just like gasoline, you can also use it to power a generator, slashing your power bill by 75% or more in the very first month. And to make sure construction is completely painless for you, I'm giving you the over-the-shoulder, step-by-step video instructions. Simply watch what I'm doing and copy me. The whole building process takes less than 2 hours, and because it's so unique, it makes a great family bonding activity. Better still, the entire home distillery is about the size of your bathtub, meaning you can put it virtually anywhere. Place it in an unseen corner of your backyard or on the side of your house. This tiny, odorless contraption is so inconspicuous, no one will ever know it's there. Your new distillery will only require few parts, which can be found in your local hardware store or at a junkyard to build. In fact, many of these components are probably sitting around in your backyard, garage, or storage shed right now. Even if you were to use only brand new store-bought materials to create the distillery, you'd still spend less than $170 to do it. You'll also receive the complete materials list, the building plans, and the illustrated blueprints. Beyond the construction guide, I'll also show you exactly how to create your fuel. You'll get a complete list of organic materials that can be quickly converted into fuel, and you'll watch me do it so that you know exactly how the process works. There are 0 modifications that need to be made to your vehicle. Virtually all engines, even your home generator, can easily run on alcohol. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you want or need to add gasoline, you'll still be able to with no worries or complications. The method in Free Power Secrets is completely safe. There's no dangerous fuels, fumes, or flames to worry about. It's actually a very simple chemical process, quite similar to what happens if you let apple juice ferment. This fuel source works around the year, too. Alcohol doesn't freeze, so you can power all of your vehicles you want, even in the dead of winter. Plus, the fuel actually burns cleaner, meaning it's better for your engine than regular unleaded gas. And keeping your home distillery running at peak output requires very little time or maintenance. You'll end up spending